What's up, my people? Good morning, it's your boy for everybody. Look at this. This is how I love the gym. Nice and empty. Okay, bright and early. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Come and get your work. Come and get fit. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. This is what it's all about. Okay, this is how success is born. Let me give you guys a tip. No matter what you're going through, no matter the difficulties, no matter the heartache, no matter what it is, this is the place that takes care of all your problems. Look at that. First person in the gym, ain't nobody here but me. You know why? Because I came to work. That's why. That's why I look the way that I do. Wishing you guys a beautiful Tuesday. Have fun. God be with you. God bless.
The man you just saw is Christian Kadima, and in January of 2021, he made headlines across Kenya for brutally taking the life of his fiancée, Elizabeth Koki Musyoki. Luckily, he was arrested by DCI detectives on Friday, 8th January 2021. However, this was not Christian's first encounter with the law, nor was it the first time he had made the news headlines for violently assaulting a woman. To understand Christian's disturbing pattern of violence against women, we need to go back to his time in South Africa before he relocated to Kenya in 2017. But before we get into it, we'd like to note that the account of events and witness testimonies shared in this video are drawn from the official court ruling dated Thursday, 27th March 2025. Welcome to Silent Shadows. As always, if you appreciate our videos, support our work by liking and subscribing. Together we uncover compelling tales of crimes and mysteries in Kenya and beyond, presenting well-balanced narratives that respect the victims and their loved ones. Christian Kadima was born in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, but moved to South Africa at a young age with his family. He grew up and schooled there, attending Bracken High School, before going on to study at the University of Pretoria. He graduated in 2007 with a Bachelor of Commerce degree, specializing in marketing, business administration, and management. Having lived in South Africa since childhood, he became a naturalized citizen in 2015, and he now held dual nationality. After university, Christian worked in several companies holding various roles across marketing, sales, and business operations. Outside of work, he was known for his love of the gym, partying, and he had a reputation as a ladies' man. But behind all of that was a dark and hidden side to him, his violent behavior towards women, and it wasn't until June of 2017 that Christian's assault cases would finally come to light. On the night of Friday, 23rd June 2017, Christian attended a house party in Morningside, Johannesburg. Among the guests was a woman named Miranda Jacobs. According to Miranda, there were about 10 people at the party. The group was drinking, playing games, and having a good time. At some point in the night, Christian asked Miranda for money to pay for his friend's cab. She agreed to lend him the money but made it clear she needed it back since the money was meant for her own transport home. Christian assured her he would pay her back, and the group continued enjoying the night. The party would go on until the early hours of Saturday, 24th June 2017. And as Miranda was getting ready to leave the apartment, she asked Christian for her money back. But he refused. They started arguing and he physically assaulted her. We won't share the graphic details of what transpired, but the attack was so brutal that Miranda blacked out. When she regained consciousness, she found herself on the floor and began crawling toward the door. But Christian locked it, refusing to let her leave. He kept asking how much money she wanted, clearly trying to silence her. He eventually allowed her to leave the apartment, and she went knocking on doors throughout the complex, desperately seeking help. One of the tenants opened their doors and helped Miranda call the police. When the police got to the scene, Miranda hoped they would arrest Christian, but to her surprise, they laughed at her face and told her they would not do anything because Christian had attacked her when they were both intoxicated. Miranda was then rushed to the hospital by an ambulance where she remained for a couple of days. Frustrated by the police not taking any action against Christian, Miranda took to her Facebook on Tuesday, 27th June 2017 and wrote a post. tagging Christian's account saying, "This is the man who beat me and almost killed me. I've been in hospital for almost 5 days now. Police refused to arrest him, saying we were under the influence of alcohol. I feel violated by SAPS. Where else am I supposed to run to if they won't let me? Do I have to be in a body bag to be taken seriously?" The post was accompanied by a photo of Christian and screenshots of our WhatsApp chat. In the chat, Miranda had sent Christian photos of the severe injuries he had inflicted on her and a text saying, "Just thought I should update you on the severity of these injuries, hey?" And his response was cold and nonchalant. He simply said, "Thank you." Miranda's post went viral with hashtag Justice for Miranda trending for days across South African social media. The story was even picked up by local newspapers and blogs. But that wasn't the end of it. After the news broke, more women started coming forward, messaging Miranda and sharing their own stories of abuse at Christian's hands. One woman who messaged Miranda on Facebook and chose to remain anonymous revealed that she had dated Christian back in 2015. She went on to share that during their relationship, he assaulted her so badly that she ended up in the hospital with a dislocated shoulder and other serious injuries. Consequently, she opened a case against him, but after nearly a year of court hearings, the case was dismissed due to insufficient evidence, even though she had photographic proof of the injuries she had sustained following the assault and a witness. The lady went on to reveal that Christian's own mother had enabled his violent behavior. She said the mother would come to her home pleading with her to drop the case, and when she refused, the pleas turned into threats. Eventually, the woman was forced to take out a restraining order against Christian. She also said there were at least 3 other women she knew of who had gone through similar abuse, and the South African justice system failed them too. Another woman who reached out to Miranda was Christian's ex-fiancé. Her story was featured in the Sunton Chronicle newspaper on 5th July 2017. She shared that she was in a relationship with Christian for 4 years and the abuse started halfway through their relationship when she was pregnant with his child. He began physically assaulting her during the pregnancy, and one of the assaults left her hospitalized. And when she tried to leave him, he would lock her inside the house and gaslight her, making her believe that his violence was her fault. Following Miranda's post, the police launched a manhunt for Christian, who was on the run. Just a few weeks later, in July of 2017, Christian slipped out of South Africa and relocated to Kenya, completely dodging arrest by the South African police. Going by his LinkedIn profile, when Christian moved to Kenya, he continued making a living working remotely as an account manager at Oracle. As for his love life, he signed up on a dating site where he met a freelance makeup artist called Kate. After chatting online for a while, they met in person in December of 2017 and soon began dating. In the course of their relationship, he lied to her about the reason he had left South Africa. As per Kate's testimony in court, Christian told her that he had been falsely accused of domestic violence by a South African woman who he claimed had harmed herself and tried to frame him. He said his lawyer had advised him to leave the country while they worked to resolve the matter. As their relationship progressed, Christian moved into Kate's house. Their relationship soon became rocky as Christian was not only physically and emotionally abusive towards Kate, but he also cheated on her frequently. In court, Kate recalled one disturbing incident at a party where they argued over his infidelity. In the heat of the moment, Christian threw a drinking glass at her, causing her injuries serious enough to require medical treatment. Kate recounted another incident, describing how she discovered Christian's infidelity after he used her laptop and forgot to log out of his social media accounts. From the messages she found, she learned that Christian was involved with at least 3 other women. The final straw came in October of 2019 when Christian physically assaulted her and fractured her finger. That was when she made the decision to end the relationship for good. By the time Kate was breaking up with Christian, he had already left his job at Oracle and had launched his own company, Forever Bodies, in July of 2018. The business brought together his passion for fitness and his background in business management and was in many ways a dream come true for him. Through this company, Christian aspired to be a well-known fitness guru, personal trainer, and a gym owner. Today, the only remaining artifacts of what Forever Bodies was about includes an Instagram page and a slide deck linked on Christian's LinkedIn profile. The slide deck mentions that the company offered a variety of services including one-on-one coaching, weight loss programs, bodybuilding, and boxing. Furthermore, his posts on the said Instagram page show that he also helped clients set up their own gyms and worked as a fitness instructor in several Nairobi-based gyms, including Smart Gyms at the Junction Mall and F45 in Lavington.
All right, guys, what up? It's your boy. For everybody is 258, and we're here in the 254. The first kind of its gym is now officially up and running. F45, and here's my beautiful team. So I'm gonna give you guys an introduction of my beautiful team.
Beyond growing his career in fitness, after his breakup with Kate in October of 2019, Christian began dating Elizabeth Koki Musyoki. The two met at Club Milan in Westlands and hit it off immediately, and they began dating in November of 2019. Koki was an incredibly successful lawyer and human resources professional. She was the founding and managing partner of Koki Associates, a firm that focused on employment law, labor relations, and human resources advice. She was also a devoted mother of 2 young boys, but she had separated from her husband in July of 2019. When Christian and Koki began dating, everything seemed to be going well, and in April of 2020, Christian even moved into Koki's house at Jacaranda Gardens Estate along Thika Road. Over time, Christian did become physically abusive towards her, and unbeknownst to Koki, Christian had a troubling history of violence against women, but she would soon discover this. You see, sometime in 2019, Christian entered a quid pro quo agreement with a woman we refer to as Angie, a businesswoman, MC, and an influencer. The arrangement was simple. Christian would provide Angie with personal fitness training in exchange for her promoting his services to her social media audience. Angie joined Smart Gyms at the Junction Mall, where Christian worked as a trainer, and the two trained together for several months. Their sessions sometimes included group outdoor workouts at various locations across the country. In line with the agreement, Angie frequently shared posts about the training sessions on her Instagram, helping to boost Christian's profile as a fitness trainer. Later that year, Angie traveled to the UK, and upon her return to Kenya in 2020, she did not resume her gym activities due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The lead on Christian's history of violence against women in South Africa would be blown open in March of 2020, when Angie received a message on Instagram from Miranda Jacobs, who had come across her posts promoting Christian's fitness training services. Miranda shared with Angie how he had physically assaulted her and fled South Africa, where there was still an outstanding warrant for his arrest. Deeply shocked by the revelation, Angie chose not to confront Christian directly and blocked him everywhere. Eventually, word reached Koki about how Christian had physically assaulted Miranda in South Africa before fleeing the country. When she confronted him, he dismissed the allegations and gaslit her, claiming that Angie had pursued a romantic relationship with him, and after he rejected her advances, she launched a smear campaign using Miranda's story to tarnish his reputation. Despite Christian's troubling history, life moved on for the couple, but things took a dark turn on Friday, 11 September 2020 near Fourways Junction along Kiambu Road. While the couple was inside Koki's car, Christian became physically violent, assaulting her, and he even threw her phone out of the car. Fearing for her life, Koki jumped out of the car and ran for safety. She later confided in her friends about the incident, and the following day, 2 of them accompanied her to Kiambu police station, where she reported the assault. They then proceeded to Kiambu District Hospital, where she received medical treatment and was issued treatment documents documenting her injuries to forward to the investigating officer. According to one of her friends' account of events in court, Koki was so traumatized by the experience that she enrolled in self-defense classes. She also reached out to Angie via Instagram, sharing how Christian had assaulted her and even sent her photos of the injuries she had sustained. In response, Angie connected Koki with Miranda so that they could support one another and work together in their pursuit of justice. In a further attempt to understand Christian's past, Koki contacted his ex-girlfriend Kate, also via Instagram. She inquired about Christian's history of physical abuse. Kate opened up about her own experiences, and in turn, Koki shared what she had gone through. The 2 women later met in person and spoke at length about Christian's violent behavior. During the meeting, Kate urged Koki to leave the relationship. That meeting was the last time Kate heard from Koki. Tragically, the next time she received any news about her was through Koki's sister, informing her that Christian had taken her life. Christian and Koki broke up following the September 2020 assault incident. They were separated throughout the rest of September and October of 2020, and they even stopped living together during this time. They eventually reconciled, and while on a vacation in Mombasa on Sunday 21st November 2020, Christian proposed, and Koki said yes. But she still wanted him to show a deeper commitment to their relationship, so they got matching tattoos as a symbol of their everlasting love. But here's the sad thing. Christian was not faithful to Koki at all. At the very same time he asked her to marry him, he was involved in an online romance with a woman named Anne. Anne says she was introduced to Christian in May of 2018 by a friend, and they began chatting on WhatsApp, exchanging messages and photos. They met in person 2 years later, on Thursday, 31st December 2020, at Onyx Lounge and Restaurant. Anne recalls that on the night they met, Christian was accompanied by another woman and her friends. That woman was his fiancé, Koki. We can confirm this because on the very same night, Onyx Lounge and Restaurant posted a photo on their Facebook page showing Christian and Koki at the establishment for the New Year's Eve party. Following this meeting, Christian continued to actively pursue an intimate relationship with Anne and even called her the very next day, on New Year's Day of 2021, and invited her to meet him at Club Quiver along Thika Road. Koki was unaware of Christian's clandestine relationship, and life went on as normal. A few days later, on Tuesday, 5th January 2021, Koki and Christian were driving home from work when she complained of feeling unwell. The following day, Christian took her to a doctor at Gateway Mall along Mombasa Road. The doctor prescribed her some medication and advised her that if her condition didn't improve, she should return for a COVID-19 test on Friday, 8th January 2021. Sadly, Koki would not live to see that day. After the doctor's visit, the couple went to 360 apartments in Syokimau, where Christian lived, and spent the night there. The next morning, that is Thursday, 7th January 2021, Christian dropped Koki off at her home in Fandel Court, Syokimau. Koki informed her house help, Ndanu, that she was still feeling unwell. After helping her settle in, Christian left for work at the gym. As Koki recuperated at home and Christian went about his day, at around 5:30 p.m., he received a call from Anne, and they agreed to meet an hour later at Quiver along Thika Road. The two met that evening, and after hanging out for a few hours, Christian left to go check on Koki. He says that he arrived at her house at around 10:30 p.m. Danu let him in, and he went straight upstairs to the master bedroom where Koki was resting, and closed the bedroom door behind him. Danu, the house help, went to the kitchen to do her chores. Since Koki's bedroom was directly above the kitchen, Danu says she heard a commotion coming from the bedroom. She described the noises like those of people running around the room. You might wonder why she didn't raise the alarm, but she told the court that such noises were quite common whenever Christian was around. A few minutes later, Christian called her several times, asking her to go close the main door and gate. When Danu went to do as he asked, she noticed that he appeared troubled, was breathing heavily, and he left in a hurry, driving off in Koki's car. After leaving Koki's house, Christian made 2 phone calls. The first was to Alexander, also known as Alex, a DJ who worked at various clubs in the city, including Onyx Lounge and Restaurant. Christian asked to meet him urgently, but Alex was not available, so they agreed to meet the following day in Nairobi CBD. Christian also asked Alex to send 55,000 Kenyan shillings to his bodyguard, Edwin. He then called Edwin, a bouncer at Onyx, asking him for help. Christian knew Edwin from his regular visits to Onyx Lounge and Restaurant, where he often went to have a good time with Koki and her sister. At Onyx, Christian would usually tip Edwin to keep an eye on them while they enjoyed their night. On the call with Edwin, Christian lied, saying that Koki had seen messages from other women on his phone, got upset, and an argument ensued, and he pushed her against the wall, making her lose consciousness. To discuss the matter further, Edwin agreed to meet Christian at Onyx, and when he arrived, Alex sent him the 55,000 Kenyan shillings as Christian had instructed. As you'll see later, Christian used this money to obtain fake travel documents in an attempt to flee the country. Christian would then receive a call from Anne, who was checking up on him. What's interesting is the fact that he told her that he had been involved in a road accident, claiming that he had hit a pedestrian and was now worried that traffic police were after him. That very same night, as Edwin and Christian were talking, Edwin suggested they go to Koki's house to check on her. Christian agreed at first, but while driving along the southern bypass, he suddenly changed his mind. They pulled over briefly, and Christian told Edwin that he wanted to spend the night at a friend's place in Kinol. But that wasn't all. He also handed Edwin his 2 SIM cards and asked him to throw them away, but Edwin refused. When they got to Kinol, Christian couldn't find his friend's house, and his calls to the said friend went unanswered. It's likely that this friend didn't exist at all, that Christian was just making up an excuse to avoid going back to Koki's house. The 2 men then began searching for a place where Christian could spend the night. At around 1 a.m., they found a guest house within Uthiru Shopping Center. It was also in Uthiru that Edwin says Christian threw away both of his SIM cards. After checking into the guest house, Christian told Edwin he needed a drink and asked him to go buy some whiskey. Edwin obliged, but once he returned, he excused himself to go home and rest. A few hours later, back at Fandale Court in Syokimau, Danu, Koki's house help, woke up around 5:40 a.m. to start the day and get one of Koki's sons ready for school. After preparing the child for school, he insisted on saying goodbye to his mother before leaving. Danu accompanied him to his mother's bedroom, where they found Koki lying on her back, her face covered with 2 pillows and a blanket draped over the rest of her body. The child tried to wake her up, but she didn't respond. Realizing something was wrong, Danu gently stepped in and reassured the child that his mother would be awake by the time he got home from school. She then took him to catch the school bus and rushed back to the house to check on Koki again, but she was still unresponsive. Danu waited for Christian to arrive at 8 a.m. as was his routine, but he never showed up that day. Growing increasingly worried, she called Koki's sister and her mother, and they advised her to reach out to a neighbor for help while they made their way to the house. The neighbor arrived shortly after, and when they removed the pillows covering Koki's face, they saw blood oozing from her mouth and nose. Sadly, Koki was deceased. They called the police, and when the officers from the Syokimau police post got to the house, they secured the scene and called in the DCI officers. When the DCI officers arrived, they noticed blood on the floor near the window and on the bed. Additionally, they noticed bruises on Koki's neck. As part of their investigations, they interviewed Ndanu to try and piece together what had happened. She told them that the last person who had been with her boss was Christian, and that he had left the house with Koki's car the previous night. While the DCI officers were at Koki's house on the other side of town, Edwin arrived at the guest house where Christian was staying. When Edwin asked how Koki was doing, Christian lied, telling him that her relatives had rushed her to the hospital and that she was still unconscious. The two then took an Uber to the Nairobi CBD and went to grab some food at a restaurant. Later, DJ Alex joined them. Like Christian, DJ Alex was also Congolese, and once he arrived, he and Christian had a long conversation in a language Edwin did not understand. DJ Alex would later tell the court that during the said conversation, Christian told him he was looking for a house, planning to open his own gym, and wanted to urgently travel to Uganda to buy gym equipment. Remember the 55,000 Kenyan shillings that Christian had instructed DJ Alex to send to Edwin on the night of Thursday, 7th January 2021? Now, Christian asked Edwin to return that money to DJ Alex so that he could organize a visa for him by 3 p.m. After wrapping up their meeting, Christian called a taxi for himself and Edwin so they could head back to Uthiru and collect his belongings that he had left at the guest house. While on the way, Edwin asked Christian to share Koki's sister's number so they could at least check on Koki's condition, but Christian brushed him off. When they got to Uthiru, they picked up Christian's things and returned to the Nairobi CBD. They went to a restaurant along Moi Avenue, and about an hour later, around 3 p.m., Christian called Anne, who was in Murang'a, and asked if they could meet. Anne, who was so eager to see Christian, left for Nairobi right away. Meanwhile, DJ Alex joined Edwin and Christian around 4:30 p.m., letting Christian know there was a delay in processing his visa, but it would be ready by 5 p.m. Having spent the entire day with Christian, Edwin excused himself since he needed to head home and get ready for his bouncer shift at Onyx Lounge, a restaurant. Before leaving, Christian gave Edwin the keys to his house at 360 Apartments in Syokimau, the keys to Koki's car, and Koki's sister's phone number. He asked Edwin to hand over the car to Koki's sister the following day, Saturday, 9th January 2021. The reason for this is Christian believed he would have already fled the country by then. Edwin then left Christian in the company of DJ Alex. Not long after, Anne joined them. Christian brought her up to speed with his travel plans by telling her he was planning to travel to Uganda the next morning at 6 a.m. to visit his father, and that DJ Alex had helped buy him a bus ticket. DJ Alex soon excused himself to go prepare for his DJ set that night. As he was leaving, Christian asked if he could use his house, but Alex said it wouldn't work since he stayed in a small bed-sitter which he shared with his cousin. So they agreed Christian would look for an affordable room in Nairobi's CBD instead. They found a room at Melonia Guest House. Christian and Anne checked into room 204 and DJ Alex left them. Now back to Edwin. He did not understand why Christian was processing a visa and why he wanted the car handed over to Koki's sister the next day. Trusting his instincts, Edwin decided to hand over the car to Koki's sister that very evening, and this decision by Edwin ended up being Christian's undoing. Edwin called Koki's sister and asked her to come pick up the car at Onyx. During the phone call, Koki's sister did not tell him that Koki had been murdered or that Christian was the main suspect, but she did ask where he was, and Edwin told her he had left him in the Nairobi CBD. Edwin then called his friend Geoffrey to join him in handing over the car. On their way to Onyx, they stopped briefly at B Club in Galana Plaza and spoke to DJ Alex, who told them he had left Christian in the Nairobi CBD where he had checked into a room at a guest house. Edwin also asked DJ Alex to hold on to Koki's car, saying her sister would come to pick it up, but DJ Alex refused. Edwin and Geoffrey left Galana Plaza for Malsabit Plaza, where Onyx Lounge and Restaurant was located. When they arrived at the basement parking of the said building, they were met by DCI officers who arrested them on the spot. That's when they also learned Christian was on the run and the main suspect in Koki's murder. The detectives also demanded to know where he was. Since Edwin knew DJ Alex was the one who had the info on Christian's exact location, he took the detectives to B Club where DJ Alex was working, and he was also arrested. DJ Alex then led the detectives to Melonia Guest House, where Christian was arrested. At the time of his arrest, Christian was with Anne, who went on to become one of the prosecution's key witnesses. Inside Christian's room at the guest house, police found several pieces of evidence that showed he was planning not only to flee the country but to change his identity. This included a one-way bus ticket to Kampala under the name Eric Kabenyi, a yellow fever card under the name Elizabeth Kadima, and a DRC passport issued on Friday 8th January 2021 with the name Eric Kabin Katalai. They also found a police abstract dated the same day, reporting a lost passport. It's possible that Christian reported his passport as missing so he could get another one under a different name. 4 days after Christian's arrest, an autopsy to determine how Koki died was conducted on Tuesday 12th January 2021 at Montezuma Mortuary by Dr. Johansen Odur. The autopsy showed that Koki had bruises on her body, including around her neck. The cause of death was determined to be asphyxia. According to the pathologist, Koki had been suffocated by someone pressing down on her chest, mouth and nose, which also explained why she hadn't been able to scream. 2 days later, on Thursday 14th January 2021, the Kenyan police wrote to Interpol to verify Christian's identity, as his South African and DRC passports bore 2 different names. Interpol ran his profile through their databases and 5 days later responded to the Kenyan police with key findings. They noted that he was known by his South African name, Christian Mwambe Kadima. The Interpol also shared that in addition to Christian holding South African and DRC nationality, he also had Nigerian nationality and was wanted in South Africa to answer to domestic violence charges. While Christian remained in police custody, 32-year-old Elizabeth Koki Musyoki was laid to rest on Friday, 22nd January 2021 at her parents' farm in Mitimingi, Nakuru County. Her loved ones remembered her as a hardworking, ambitious, and devoted mother. Christian was later arraigned in court and entered a no guilty plea on Tuesday, 9th February 2021. The subsequent court proceedings were lengthy, and here are the main highlights. Firstly, Christian told the court that his fiancé's death had left him deeply heartbroken. He said he only learned about her death during the police interrogation and insisted that he had no reason to harm her. He framed their relationship as loving and harmonious, despite multiple witnesses testifying about previous assaults. Christian went on to testify that he and Koki never quarreled and were deeply in love to the extent that they had access to each other's bank accounts. Honestly, this raises suspicions that Christian may have been financially dependent on Koki to sustain his lifestyle. Secondly, he also denied any wrongdoing and stated that the noises Ndanu heard from the bedroom on the night of the murder were happy noises and not noises resulting from a fight. He emphasized that he left Koki alive and well, kissed her goodnight, tucked her in bed, and later went out clubbing. Consequently, he said that Ndanu, the house help, should have also been a suspect in Koki's murder since she was the only other adult in the house after he left. Thirdly, he denied planning to escape to Uganda despite being found with a bus ticket, a new passport, and other documents. He claimed that all the documents were fabricated or misrepresented and insisted that witnesses such as Anne, Edwin, and DJ Alex were coerced by the police to falsely claim he was fleeing the country. He even denied giving DJ Alex money to facilitate the processing of his travel documents, despite M-Pesa records showing otherwise. Lastly, during the court proceedings, the judge described Christian as intelligent, sharp like a fox, and possessing a silver tongue. The judge also pointed out that in his defense, he openly lied about his movements on the night of Thursday, 7th January 2021, and about the actions that led him to acquire fake travel documents in an attempt to escape the police. The judge further noted that after evaluating all the testimonies and evidence, including the autopsy report, witness accounts, and Christian's inconsistent statements, Christian was guilty of taking Koki's life. He was later sentenced to 40 years in prison on Friday, 2nd May 2025. We send our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Elizabeth Koki Musyoki. May her soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you for joining us today. If you appreciated this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to be notified when the next video is up. Until then, please take care, stay safe, and always trust your gut.